Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal production channel here at YouTube. Welcome to another album of the week. This, of course, is episode number 59. Since this past Tuesday, which of course was March 31st, marked the 40th anniversary for the 7th studio album from, of course, German metal giants Scorpions. Now, Animal Magnetism was originally released on March 31st, 1980, and it was, of course, their follow-up to, of course, their definitely one of their really earliest hit albums here in the States, 1979's Love Drive, which, of course, also marked the debut for guitar player Matthias Jabs, who, of course, pretty much replaced Uli John Roth. From, of course, Taken by Force and Tokyo Tapes. Of course, Uli left the band and went and formed his own band called Electric Sun. But Matthias Jabs, of course, was the guitar player that would replace him, and here he is definitely a full-on member. I think technically, I think some tend to list him as like a guest musician for some reason, because technically it was Michael Schenker that kind of replaced, I guess, in some ways. Because, of course, Michael Schenker, of course, being one of the original members, of course, since Lonesome Crow and really early on when they formed in that, was it the mid to late 60s? Kids, that's how old Scorpions are. So, here, Animal Magnetism is the full album from, of course, Matthias Jabs on board. And some really tend to really rate this album a little lower from Love Drive, but I think this album is easily just as good as Love Drive. I mean, this album is definitely is sandwiched right between Love Drive and Blackout, which is definitely two of the band's biggest albums. I mean, not to count out Love at First Sting. But this album is just sandwiched right in between. It's kind of the same situation, I feel, with, let's say, for example, Fireball from Deep Purple. It's like sandwiched in between Deep Purple and Rock and Machine Head, which was Deep Purple's two big and definitely their heavy hitters and definitely were big fan favorites. This is almost the same situation I find with Animal Magnetism, but I think that this album is definitely another fine, solid Scorpions album. And I definitely love it just as much as Love Drive and Blackout. I mean, this was definitely a little bit of a different sound. I mean, beginning with Love Drive, it was a different sound for Scorpions. They were definitely kind of a little bit shedding away from that sort of big 70s feel that Uli definitely gave them. I mean, Uli was definitely a big signature in terms of that really almost real dark, almost majestic, and at times real almost, I won't even, in some cases, a little sinister feel to some of those really albums, like, for example, like maybe Fly at a Rainbow up to about Taken by Force, which just had a real heavy, almost just real dark, mystical, bluesy feel that I mean, only him and maybe even Richie Blackmore were able to really come up with in some aspects. They were just able, I mean, Uli definitely took a lot of inspiration from guys like Jimi Hendrix. We just added a lot of that and just added a little of a dark feel to those albums. Here, beginning with albums like Love Drive, and here with, of course, Matthias Jabs, who definitely has a more of a different, a little more upbeat, more energetic, more metallic feel than compared to Uli. I mean, Uli is a fantastic guitar player. To try and compare Matthias to Uli is like literally trying to compare oranges and apples. It's two different flavors and two different just flavors and everything. Matthias Jabs has his own feel, so it definitely you get that with albums like this and Love Drive, and I definitely prefer. I mean, when it comes to the 80s, they definitely had the some way up, kind of a little bit updated in some ways, but I think here their updation here I think was a lot more accessible, but in good ways, because this was definitely was trying to really compete with the likes of Judas Priest. And in many ways, even at times, I wouldn't say, for example, maybe Iron Maiden, but definitely also the really kind of comparison, the really at the time, the beginning new wave or British heavy metal bands, and I think bands like when Scorpions released Love Drive, they definitely it was easy for them to really go in and compete that because of they were looking for a little harder, faster, more just more real metallic stuff, just stuff that was at least more a little more metal feel in many ways. It's probably the easiest. I mean, some of the early Scorpions albums, I would definitely consider metal for 1970s, but when it comes to the 1980s, they definitely, I think the change definitely benefited them with that sort of new wave or British heavy metal crowd. And with this sound, I think they definitely kind of really, definitely expanded on the sound, I would say, for Love Drive, and it definitely kind of builds up to what would come after this, which would be Blackout, which is definitely one of my all-time favorite Scorpions albums for sure. But this one, I think, is another fine album. I mean, it's songs like, for me, was it Make It Real, I think is a fine, just a great opener with the mid-solo break that is just great, classic, upbeat, hard rock and metal. It's a great track from Scorpions. Of course, Don't Make No Promises, Your Body Can't Keep. Basically following the same footsteps as like Another Piece of Meat off of Love Drive. It's a great, fast speed metal tune. I put it right again as some of the best stuff from even Saxon. It's a great, just a great, fast, upbeat, energetic rocker. It's a great song. Of course, what's playing in the background here is Hold Me Tight, which is the song that comes after it. It's just a sort of great, sort of typical, sort of melodic, little slower track, but still is backed by a heavy riff still. And of course, 20th Century Man is back to the more upbeat feel to it. Definitely pretty upbeat. It's a fine song for sure. I definitely dig it. Lady Starlight is the ballad for sure of the album. And when it comes to Scorpion and them doing ballads, I think Scorpions are one of the best bands to do ballads because of that. There's a certain way that they construct them that just is so natural and is just done in such a way that certain bands at the time, let's say, for example, Boston or Journey or Styx, those were so sugary and so completely filled that it definitely kind of takes, there's just not a whole lot of grit to them. It just sounds so fodder. Whereas Scorpions, on the other hand, it's like there's at least a lot of thought and it comes off so organic. And the way, and I always feel Lady Starlight just comes in there. They just know how to craft the ballad. And I think it's definitely definitely a fine ballad on the album. Of course, side B, of course, kicks off with Falling in Love, which is back to being even probably way more upbeat this time. And again, Scorpions are definitely one when it comes to just great sort of just, I just think I say campy, upbeat stuff, but they do it in a way that, again, I feel just comes off naturally and organic, and Falling in Love is a fine song. Only a Man comes in, and we're back to the heaviness. We're back to the fucking straight up meaty, just straight up meat and potatoes, no bullshit heavy riffs here. This is a great song. And of course, The Zoo. Do I really need to talk any more about The Zoo? Do I have to talk about it? Because you know how much of a great song this song is. It's just backed up by that slow chug fucking riff that literally just chomps away. And it's a classic track. The first time I actually heard this song was on the Worldwide Live album. And and of course that is a pretty good live version of it, though I think there's probably some maybe radio broadcasts I think from this time that I think probably blows away the version on Worldwide Live, but it's a killer, just a slow, heavy track, and Scorpions definitely knew how to write a slow, just straight up chug type of song, just chomping in many ways. It's a great slow foot stomper. It's like literally, it's a great track. And of course, the title track, which ends it, which is probably you kind of get, it seems to be the last remnants to me of the Uli era, because it's got that dark feel to it. I mean, if Uli John Roth was behind the guitar for this song, for Animal Magnetism, for the song alone, oh my god, it would have definitely would have really heightened up even more. This is almost close to being doom metal. This is a slow, just dirgy, heavy song with such a nasty bite to it. I mean, there's just nothing about the title track that I don't love about. There's just nothing on here that I don't love. It's a fucking killer track and a great, perfect way to end the album for me. I mean, of course, Testament, and I'm covering the song for it. It's actually one of the bonus tracks for some of the expanded editions for like Dark Roots of Earth, and that's a fine cover of the song. But there's just nothing about there's just nothing that tops the Scorpions version for me, though. That dirgy guitar tone is so distorted and so filthy sounding that it just adds to the whole atmosphere of the song. It's just a great way to end it. So 9 songs, and it's of course clocks in around 39 minutes. It's definitely a fine album for me. I know it's been kind of a debate though about the album cover because it was done. Was it Hypnosis? Was it Hypnosis? I think that did the artwork for it. If I am correct, here we go. Yeah, Hypnosis did the artwork for the Animal Magnetism, and depending on the European pressings and the U.S. pressing, which I mean, it shares the same album cover, but it's the back covers that are seen to be different on both pressings. But it's always debated whether or not if there's actually something a bit more, a little darker, a little sinister to the cover. Everyone has definitely tried to been debated on what is, what's offensive, I guess I'm gonna say on the cover here. I know. Actually, I should pull up the Wikipedia page on here. I should pull up the Wikipedia page because the artist who was working for Hypnosis at the time commented on the artwork here, and I definitely want to kind of bring this comment up before I really end this Album of the Week episode or review and everything on it. But I just want to, I definitely want to, for sure, definitely kind of talk about for a bit. Anyways, here we go. We're gonna get to the Album of the Week. The Wikipedia page here. Here we go. All right. Here's. Where is it? Here we go. The artwork right here was, of course, the album cover, according to Wikipedia here, was created by Storm Thorgerson of the design firm Hypnosis, who, of course, was working for them. As with earlier Scorpions album sleeves, courted controversy. However, unlike several of their previous album sleeves, the controversy did not result in the cover being replaced with an alternate sleeve. Recalling the cover photo, Thorgerson remarked, that one was funny. I don't think we figured it out. We just knew there was something rude somewhere. So basically, it's saying there's something. It's like they've never really quite figured out what is there, but he just said that there is something rude there. So that's probably one of the funniest, or at least one of the most interesting things for a artists to actually say about their cover being as far as when it comes to debate or whether or not if there's something actually rude or something controversial, something offensive on this cover. I mean, Scorpions was known for having offensive artwork that definitely got the covers changed because of just how controversial. I mean, look at the controversy surrounding the Virgin Killer album. Oh my god. And even to this day, it still sparks a lot of controversy. I mean, there was a whole situation with Wikipedia where apparently it almost really got Wikipedia in hot waters over the cover because of at least the original cover got them hot water. Still years, so it still gets. I mean, it got a bit sorted out because of the fact that the artwork for Virgin Killer has been around for so many years that at this point, for some have said that it seems to be almost a little bit. I guess a little bit more ridiculous to actually try and get it to be rebanned or something, but because it's been on the market for so many years. I mean, I don't want to completely make this a whole about all controversies and everything, but and try and insert my little opinions on it, even though I don't think it was a great cover art to begin with. But knowing how how Scorpions were so young during the time in some ways, and were desperate for a lot of attention to get them to where they are at. I think without that sort of stuff, whether or not they would have ever been completely talked about. So in a ways, the controversy in their early days kind of definitely helped Scorpions gain a lot of attention, and actually probably turned a lot of people into their music in some aspects, even if good or bad. Still, this album though, Animal Magnetism, I think is definitely a fine Scorpions album. I find it to be in some ways kind of underrated as well. So with that, since I know this album hit its 40th anniversary, I bet most of you are definitely inspired or re-inspired to pull it out to listen to it again for just old time's sake. Maybe I am the one responsible right now for probably inspiring you to pull that album out for one more time to probably listen to it and everything. It's definitely a fun album. It's a good album. So with that, hope you all enjoyed. This is Every Thrasher. Sam out. And I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.